Hi everyone, welcome to another Sunday school from my apartment. Woo! Yeah, here we are again. I look different. I have my hair up and I got this really cool hat in the mail. I just needed to show you all. Do you see what it says? I can't, is it backwards? I don't know for like watching it, but it says Samantha with a question mark. And do you know who says that? I'll give you an idea. Olaf! Olaf! Did you watch Frozen 2? I think you all know that I love Olaf. This is just one of my many Olafs in my life. He's the most recent. Somebody got him for me a little bit ago, and yeah, he makes me pretty happy. He's got the leaf and everything. But do you remember Olaf in Frozen 2? Now, if you haven't seen it, this is a bit of a spoiler because I'm going to call it Olaf. Are you ready? Olaf, he's wandering, he gets lost in the woods, and he goes, Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, Sven, Samantha? What? I don't even know a Samantha. And then he starts laughing. And then that's my favorite part of the entire movie. That's not true. There's so many parts of that movie I really like, but I got this cool hat and I just needed to show you because, as you know, my name is Sammy, which is short for Samantha. So, yeah, this hat just makes me happy and I needed to share it with you. Okay, so let's get to like the real reason we're here, not Sammy's weird love of Olaf and my fun new hat. Let's talk about God, friends. Woo, happy Sunday. Yeah, we are still talking about Moses, and we needed to review a little bit because Moses, he's got a crazy life. So we know that Moses was a baby and he was raised by Pharaoh's daughter. You know, mom put him in the basket, flew it on down the Nile, got picked up by Pharaoh's daughter. He grew up, he didn't like the way the Israelites were treated, and he ran away. And he got married, and then we have the burning bush. Woo, still have my plant here. You want to know my favorite thing about this plant? I don't know if it's alive or dead. I think it's growing, but it's a succulent, I think, and they're apparently hard to kill, but I have killed a few plants in my day, not on purpose, because I like plants, but it's always an accident. I just don't know what I'm doing wrong, but this one, I can't tell, but he looks okay to me. But anyway, Moses, burning bush, and yeah, he's talking to God and everything. Um, and we're in chapter 4, last week it was like a whole bunch of like, God says yes. Moses is like, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then God, wins. Yes. Uh, so here we are in chapter 5. And let's start reading. So if you have your Bible, cool. If you don't, pause this video and pick it back up after you get your Bible. Okay, so afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go, so that they may hold a festival to me in the wilderness. So this is the first conversation Moses and Aaron are having with Pharaoh, which is pretty cool. So Pharaoh said, Who is the Lord that I should obey and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go. This Pharaoh, man. Not cool. Then they said, The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, or he may strike us with plagues or with the sword. But the king of Egypt said, Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to your work. Then Pharaoh said, Look, the people of the land are now numerous, and you are stopping them from working. They just want their bricks to be made. They don't want to let the Israelites go. Okay, and then in verse 6, that same day Pharaoh gave this order to the slave drivers and overseers in charge of the people. You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw, but require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. So they have to keep making the same number of bricks even though they took away one of the key ingredients to making the bricks. Now the Israelites have to go out and find straw to make bricks when it was originally given to them. It's happening. I've lost my spot. It happens every time. Verse 9. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Don't reduce the quota. Can you believe this? This is not nice. This is what Pharaoh's saying. They are lazy. That is why they're crying out. Let us go and make sacrifice to our God. Make the work harder for the people so that they keep working and paying no attention to the lies. Well, that's just not cool, Pharaoh. He's calling the Israelites lazy. Then the slave drivers and the overseers went out and said to the people, "This is what Pharaoh says. I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it. But your work will not be reduced at all." So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubble to use for straw. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, "Complete the work required of you for each day, just as you did when you had straw." And Pharaoh's slave drivers beat the Israelite overseers they had appointed, demanding, "Why haven't you met the quota of bricks yesterday or today as before?" So I don't know if you're like kind of confused. I got a little confused. I was like, what in the world does straw have to do with brick making? But I Googled it and I found out that when they made bricks back then, the straw was added for stability of the brick so that the brick wouldn't crumble. So there's some sort of like property in straw that like keeps the bricks together. So they took away this like key ingredient that keeps bricks together. And now the Israelites have to go out and find their own straw when in the beginning the Egyptian people would give them the straw to make the bricks. But now Pharaoh got mad because Moses was like, "Let my people go." And he's like, "No, you guys are lazy and now I'm mad. So I'm taking away a key ingredient, making your work harder." Not cool, dude, not cool. Okay, so at verse 17, Pharaoh said, "Lazy. That's what you are, lazy." Man, this is not nice. "That is why you keep saying, 'Let us go and sacrifice to the Lord.' Now get to your work. You will not be given any straw, yet you will produce the full quota of bricks." The full amount of bricks that they were required to make every day. And now they're missing the key ingredient, so it's going to be harder. And now Pharaoh's like, "You must complete the work like you always have, even though I'm making it harder for you." So, this is just pretty terrible. Pretty terrible. It's a terrible way to be treated. Pharaoh is calling the Israelites lazy, and he made their job harder by not giving them the straw. Okay, verse 19. The Israelite overseers realized they were in trouble when they were told this. You are not to reduce the number of bricks required for you each day." When they left Pharaoh, they found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them, and they said, "May the Lord look on and judge you." So Moses and Aaron, they said that to the Egyptian guys, like, "Hey, may the Lord look on you and judge you because you are not being real nice right now." And in verse 22, Moses returned to the Lord and said, "Why, Lord? Why have you brought trouble on these people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has brought trouble on this people, and you have not rescued your people at all." This is I love how open and honest Moses is with God. So Moses, he's calling out to God because, things got worse for the Israelites. And he's like, "You called me, we talked, remember? And it was a whole like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then I said yes, and here I am talking to Pharaoh, and like, you're not holding up your end of the deal, God. The people, they got themselves in a worse situation now. What are you doing? When are you going to step in?" So, guess what? That's the end of our chapter for today. We'll see what God has to say to Moses next week, because I'm sure he's going to have some cool remarks back to Moses when Moses is, sharing his feelings. So, I know many of you like the story of Moses and you kind of know what's coming on, especially in my Bible. If you flip the page, exciting things that we've been wanting to talk about start. And you can always read ahead in the Bible. You can read anything in the Bible because the Bible is a book for everyone. So yeah, take time to read it when you want to. It's a good book. I highly recommend. So, this part of the story, it's kind kind of a little sad, right? The Israelites, they're being treated worse, and Moses thought he was gonna like save them immediately, and then things got not so great, and now the labor is even harder that they're doing. So something we need to remember is that this story takes place in the Old Testament. This is my Bible. This is how far we're in. This is how much is left. Okay? In the New Testament, if I could ask you this, I would ask, like if we were in person, what is the difference between the Old and New Testament? Think about that. Here we go. This is when the New Testament starts, right here. New Testament. I know. The Old Testament, it's a lot. But here's the New Testament. What is the biggest change that happens in the New Testament? The Old Testament is everything leading up to Jesus. Okay? Jesus is born and lives in the New Testament. He dies in the New Testament too, as we remember. So one of my favorite things about Jesus is that he tells us that the greatest commandment of all is to love God and to love our neighbor. And to love, and neighbor means like basically anyone around you. So we need to love God and love others. That's the greatest commandment out there. And even though, like, sometimes I like to think about what would have happened if Jesus was around when Pharaoh was, being real mean to these Israelites. I don't think Pharaoh really would have cared, because Pharaoh's Pharaoh and he's like, I'm the greatest thing out here. So sometimes, friends, I don't know what you're hearing right now in the world. The world is kind of a little scary right now. It's kind of a little sad. And I think that something people in our country and our world are kind of forgetting is the greatest commandment is to love God and to love others. And I think we need a reminder of that, because it's so important, and like it's the greatest commandment. And sometimes we don't do a good job at following the loving others part, which is super important. So even though, like, if you're seeing anything in the news, or if your parents are letting you know what's going on, I hope they are in a good, not so scary way, because if you watch the news, I get kind of scared by the news sometimes. So even though the news is kind of sad and scary right now, I have seen kids stepping up, and that's really, really cool. It makes me super happy. I saw a whole article, and I've been reading a lot about it, about how kids are making a huge impact and reminding people like, hey, you need to love your neighbor. You need to love others around you. And kids, I'm kind of amazed by kids, because you guys get it. And something happens when you become an adult where you sort of lose, the basics. And kids are reminding adults that we need to love others. So I have an idea. I think it will be fun. I would like to make a video, which will be kind of a hoot for me, because I've never made this type of video before. I would like to create a video for our congregation to hear. I want you all to make a little video of yourselves, have your parents film you. If you can film yourself, that's cool, but it might be better quality video if your parents do it, just like with the shakiness. It can be hard to take a video in selfie mode. I take my videos in a tripod, because it would be terrible if I tried to hold this phone and do everything. So anyway, I would like to make a video of you answering the question, what does it mean to love others? What does it mean to love your neighbor? So I would love for you to send me a video clip, and I will put all of our videos together and make one big video clip from the kids of Shepherdstown UMC telling our congregation about what it means to love our neighbor, because I think it's a really important message, and I think it'll be good for our church to hear your perspective, because you know something super duper cool? Adults listen to you guys, and you can often inspire adults, and sometimes they need a reminder from a kid, because they kind of forget. When you become an adult, you become a little bit more forgetful, and when they hear things from kids, they're like, yeah, my goodness, I can't believe that, that's kind of slipped my mind. These kids, they are just so cool. They're so wise. They know so much about God, and they can see God and they can feel God in their own lives, and it's amazing. And wow, they've inspired me, and I'm going to be a little bit kinder to my neighbor, to whoever the other may be in your life. So I think this video will be fun. Um, I I I don't have a timeline, so like within 2 weeks, if you can send me your video, that'd be really cool and great. And yeah, so send me your video, and then I'll try to figure out how to put them all together and make one big video. Woo! So yeah, that is my activity option for you today. It'd be cool if it's not an option. It'd be cool if you just did it, because I would love to have everybody in our video, but I understand summer's crazy and crazy fun. So take some time, think about what it means to love others, love your neighbor, and answer the question in video format. And have your parents send it to me, because I would love to see them and learn how to make a big collaborative video with you all, and then we can learn how to do that, more often too, which will be good. So I hope you enjoyed another week of Moses, and we will see what happens next week in chapter 6. Have a great Sunday. Don't forget to send me your video, and yeah, happy Sunday, friends.